Thanks for coming to Pitch Day for 100K. It's a great day to pitch. It's always a great day to pitch. Today, we're going to hear from Reed Wade from Lot Swaps and Edward Park from Neuro Reserve. We haven't heard from Neuro Reserve for a while, so it's good to have you back. And thanks everybody else for coming out to Pitch Day for 100K. And congratulations to those guys, because on average, we screen about 20 companies for everyone that gets to pitch. So they've gone through the gauntlet to get here today, and I appreciate them doing that. StartUpNV is Nevada's nonprofit statewide startup accelerator and incubator. We run 7 nonprofit free programs for entrepreneurs and 4 for-profit investment funds. Government grants and corporate sponsors support our nonprofit. That in the short term, and then over the long term, we're supported by the accelerator companies that pledge a small amount of their equity and in the investors in our investment funds who pledge some of their profit to the nonprofit, so that we don't have to keep going back to government grants over time. Now, we run Pitch Day for 100K fortnightly on Wednesdays, where companies pitch for the Q&A and for entry into our accelerator program. And that comes with an investment from Fund NV, our pre-seed fund. That our investor syndicate usually adds to that $100,000 investment. And then that whole pile of money is matched by our program with the state of Nevada that matches us dollar for dollar for the investments that we put in. Since 2021, our funds have completed 30 transactions in 21 companies, directly investing $9.4 million. And partners like GoEd and others have come alongside us to make that total investment about $30 million. And it's an average of about $500,000 per company directly from us, and another $1.5 million from our partners who usually join us in the investments. That $9.4 million that we've invested, I mentioned just a minute ago, is now worth about $27.3 million. So it's a pretty good track record for having invested only since 2021. Now for the legal disclaimer. The founders pitching today are pitching for investment from our venture funds and our syndicate, both of which comply with SEC and Nevada Certified Investor Standards and Regulations. We invite the whole community to come out to attend and watch the pitches for educational purposes, kind of like going to Shark Tank, but hopefully we're a little nicer. The pitches today are not a general solicitation for investment. Now, our nonprofit work would not be possible without financial help from grants and sponsors. The City of Las Vegas, Clark County, GoEd, the EDA, the USDA are among our top grantors, and we appreciate their support. That's how we roll. So, Edward, there he is. I recognize that booth. I recognize that booth at the Innovation.
Oh, yeah.
I've sat in it many times myself. So I can't wait to hear about where things are with Neuro Reserve. It's been a while since we've heard from you. So thanks for coming out today, and share your slides and take it away when you are ready.
Okay, great. Let me go ahead and share them, and then put it on the presentation. And I hope you can hear me okay.
We can.
Okay, that's great. Now let me go to full presentation mode. Hopefully this will make it a little bit bigger for people on their screens. So let's see if this goes. Might be a second delay there. So,
there we go. We got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
All right. I didn't time myself before this, so I think I'm just going to err on the side of just moving fast. It's great to speak with you again, Jeff, and also Maggie and Leith, and just thanks so much for having me on here to pitch. And I'd just like to introduce everyone here to Neuro Reserve, the company that I founded. And as the statement says here, we're a company that's focused in brain health, and in particular, aging-related brain health and the diseases that may come from that brain aging, in particular, Alzheimer's disease and other neurodegenerative diseases. So I'll start here really briefly with the problem, and the context here is something that's been popularized by Peter Attia. There's 4 horsemen of disease out there for people who are living in the industrialized world, and about 80% of us are going to succumb to them. And one is metabolic, which is, of course, related to diabetes. The other is cardiovascular, cancer, and then there's dementia. And why should there be focus on dementia? And the reason is because compared to these other diseases, the diseases of brain aging are accelerating in their death rates much faster than the others. In fact, the others are actually being helped along and coming under control by some nice treatments, great monitoring and prevention strategies, but not the neurodegenerative disease side of things, not the brain aging side of things. And it has to do with the fact that has been difficult to monitor them over our lifetimes. And when people are diagnosed, the drugs aren't very good yet. And so that leads to a situation, as shown here in this kind of funnel diagram, that we have a crisis that's building up, and it's taking or creating a much larger and larger burden over time, both at the personal and family level, but also at the societal health institution levels, and a lot of attention to neurodegenerative disease, Alzheimer's disease in particular being the largest one, and brain aging and cognitive aging in general, not necessarily attached to disease, is becoming a major area of focus in areas or in places like the National Institutes of Health and their investments there. And now this translates into the market. So in the marketplace, at least in the United States, nutritional supplement market, brain health is the second fastest category there. The first one is weight loss, which has quite a bit of attention nowadays. But secondly is brain health, and that goes to that growing awareness of this crisis that's building. Also, the pandemic itself drove a lot more awareness with respect to cognitive health. So now, when it comes to Neuro Reserve, we want to do breakthrough nutrition. We want to make a big difference in cognitive aging through nutrition. We want to help people avoid, possibly, fully prevent diseases like Alzheimer's. And a couple things about us is that we're headquartered here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I apologize for not being able to be there in person, just a lot of back-to-back meetings. We have great medical advisors, in particular from the Cleveland Clinic, Luvuvo Center for Brain Health here in Las Vegas also. Have some investors from Nevada, Reno Seed Fund, and also Battleborn Venture, which is the Nevada State Venture Capital Fund. And there is quite a bit of relevance, actually, to Nevada itself, given its large population of retirees. I want to point out here, when it comes to our medical and scientific advisory team, there's some great people from all across the country and from industry here. One person I'd like to mention in particular is Jeffrey Cummings, who joined us about a year and a half ago, and he's likely one of the top 3 Alzheimer's researchers in the world. And it's very fortunate that we have his expertise, especially as we propose and engage and file grant applications to NIH and ADDF, which is another granting organization for clinical research. And as for myself, my background's in pharmaceuticals. However, the biggest reason why I founded Neuro Reserve is because I have my own family history of dementia and also Parkinson's disease, which is another neurodegenerative disease that my father had. And that kind of 20-year journey is the main reason why I founded Neuro Reserve about 5 years ago. So just when it comes to what inspires Neuro Reserve's thinking, especially when it comes to our first product, it's research breakthroughs in dietary patterns that connect to cognitive health. And there were 2 really great seminal works done, one in Spain and also in the United States in the middle of the 2010s, we can say, that really revealed how the impact of diet and nutrition on long-term brain health, to the point where risk for Alzheimer's disease could be cut by over half. And so what that did is that inspired us to develop a product called Relevate, which is currently on the market. And Relevate is intended to help people emulate or mimic the nutritional profile of the Mind and Mediterranean diets. And the Mind diet is essentially the Mediterranean diet, except slightly modified to be more targeted for brain health. And this has been on the market since for about 3.5 years now. And just a couple recent highlights. We recently surpassed $1 million in cumulative net revenues. We're, recently broke through 100K for quarterly net revenue. And importantly, for our two main channels of revenue generation, we're making great progress in accelerating our growth and followership in Instagram, which is important for our direct-to-consumer funnel. And also, we've doubled and accelerated our independent pharmacy installed base, which is our other channel. It's a wholesale channel for us. So I'd like to, in the last couple slides here, I'd like to first introduce you to the round that's taking place right now. We're calling it the Series Seed 2 financing round. And the main goals are, number one, get to self-sustainability. So when I sat down with our investors, Seed Fund and also Battleborn, we thought to ourselves, what are the main goals going to be for this round? It's let's get to self-sustainability here. And the second thing is let's accelerate growth. Let's get the growth acceleration going. It's especially over 50% annually, because for the past couple of years we've been at around 25, 30% revenue growth. We're raising $500,000. And as you can see, the valuation is there. The main, a very special part of this round that I'd like to point out is that Battleborn has committed to match investors 1-for-1. So that's really special, and that's a great way to start. The second thing, in order for us to accelerate closing, is that for early investors participating, we're offering warrants that give a bonus effectively of 50% more shares on top of the ones that are purchased through preferred shares. So here's a just quick table on the use of funds. Marketing for about 100,000. 2 new products that we'd like to release next year to help bundle with Relevate, and also some clinical and also working capital, adding up to $500,000. And I'd like to end here with just this slide here, and that it describes what we're doing from a clinical research standpoint, and it's a big piece and a huge goal of my own and a reason for the company to exist, and that is we want to focus on research and real breakthrough nutrition, and a huge goal that we achieved this year is to file ADDF and NIH grants to perform clinical trials, and that's in collaboration with the Cleveland Clinic. And Charles Bernick there, who's going to be our principal investigator at that site, and also UNLV and the Brain Health and Biomarker Laboratory, and Jefferson Kinney will be the principal investigator there. And for our very first trial that we want to run, what we'd like to do is confirm that, of course, the nutrients are getting in. These very important nutrients from the mind diet are actually getting into blood and also are read out in urine. And secondly, and this is the cutting edge side of it, it's to measure if there are changes in what we call Alzheimer's biomarkers. Now, you might recall that earlier I mentioned that it's hard for us to monitor the progress or prevention status of a person with respect to neurodegenerative disease. It's because we don't have something like an A1C that diabetes has. That's a wonderful marker. However, there are some that may become important and can be kind of like the A1Cs for brain health and aging, and they're listed here in the bullets. And we're looking at some huge cutting edge markers there to see what influence we can have on those. And this is it. Finally, this is just the beginning of a sequential clinical trial program where we intend to really become, as the underline on the right-hand side says, part of the future preventive standard of care, because the preventive standard of care will emerge over time. And we want to make sure that Neuro Reserve is a part of it. So with that, I'll take questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Maggie, and thanks, Ed, and thanks, Reed. Really interesting presentations today. Just a few program notes as we wrap up here. Investors, if you're curious about how to become an investor, reach out to us. We have 4 different opportunities for you to get engaged with us, from experienced folks to novices. We have a pre-seed fund, FundNV, which is the fund that invests in companies like the ones we saw today. Angel NV is a teaching fund that we start every January that ends in March, where we teach a group of investors who want to become angels how to do that and make a real investment at the end of it. Of about $200,000 in one company that's matched by the state. So it's a $400,000 investment for the founders who participate. We have 1864, our seed fund, and then we have an investor syndicate of about 300 folks. So if you liked those stats that I gave you up top, where we've invested $9.4 million and turned that so far into $27.4 million, jump on in with us somewhere so you can help some of these awesome founders that we see and also make a little money at it. You can check, we have a whole investor page at startupnv.org where you can find out more. And thanks again to the founders who pitched today. So we'll see you back here on December 4th to see two more Nevada startups pitching for some money. And then until then, take care of yourself. And if you can, someone else too.